of you, the Marshall County Board of Supervisors, at our meeting, regular session, on this 30th day of June 2015 at 9 a.m. with all three members present in our meeting room number 2, northeast corner, 3rd floor. At this time, I'd like to ask you to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just a notice to the public, the Board of Supervisors welcomes comments from the public during the time allowed for discussion. You are requested to approach the microphone, state your name for the record, and limit the time used to present your remarks in order that others may be given the opportunity to speak. The normal process on any agenda item is for the chairperson to read the item from the agenda. The board is given an opportunity to comment on the issue and or place a motion on the floor. An opportunity for discussion may be presented, at which time the public may participate, and a roll call vote will follow. Moving on to the item number 1 on the agenda is approval or amendment of the agenda that has been presented.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the agenda as printed.
I will second that.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Patton.
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Item number 2, this is from the Buildings and Grounds Department, masonry repair for Sheriff's Office and Courthouse. This being the letting at 9 a.m. Accepting bids to provide for periodic and preventative masonry repairs to the exterior of the Sheriff's Office and the Marshall County Courthouse. And Deanne, I think we've received some.
We did.
Okay.
Yes. We have received a quantity of 2, and we'll go ahead and open those up. Probably should have brought openers. Who's the first one? The first company is E&H Restoration, LLC. And they stapled it to it as well. So we'll just yank it. There we go.
Do we have a bid bond?
Yes. So the base proposal for the sheriff's office is $204,963, and for the courthouse is $105,929.
Is there an alternate?
There is alternates. Alternate number 1, the masonry control joints, is for $13,835. Alternate number 2, the kitchen masonry repair, is for $15,605. The alternate number 3, column base repair, is for $450. And the alternate number 4, work above roof line, is for $21,284.
Could you repeat that number, please?
The last one?
Yes.
$21,284.
I'm going to ask you to repeat one more.
Sure.
Which was the courthouse base bid?
$105,929.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there a total bid for everything?
I am looking. There's not an end total that I'm seeing. The proposed starting date would be August 21st of 15. And proposed date of substantial completion would be November 30th of 2015.
I'm going to give you another total, but I want to add it up again. I have a total of $362,066, and I want to read back the figures that I used to arrive at that to make sure I got them down right. Base bid at the courthouse, $105,929. Base bid at the sheriff's office, $204,963. Alternate number 1, $13,835. Alternate number 2, $15,605. Alternate number 3, $450. Alternate number 4, $21,284. Okay,
That is correct.
362,066.
Okay. Are you ready for the next one?
Yes.
It is Renaissance Restoration Incorporated. There's no denying we did not open these ahead of time. All right.
Should give her your knife.
I'm gonna open both since they're both from the same company and see what the differences are first. It might be the bid bond, but it doesn't say on the outside, so I just wanna confirm. By the time you get that out,
I
it's
know.
gonna be done. Note to self, bring.
We
it
can
back
always
or-
hold. We can always hold.
We might have to ask for lunch today.
Didn't
Okay.
take that long.
Yes, it is the bid bond, so. All right, you guys ready for the numbers now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Sheriff's Office, $169,000. Courthouse, $232,000. Alternate number 1 for the masonry control joints is $36,600. Alternate number 2 for the kitchen masonry repair is $12,500. Alternate number 3 column base repair is for $4,500. And alternate number 4 for the work above roof line is $36,100.
Bid bond?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. Is this the document that we send out? Pardon? Is this our document, or where do they do this?
This is, came from the, post office. Pretty sure I did. No, 'cause it's not on.
Mhm.
It's kind of fun watching Thompson make his little stubby fingers work. It's going like crazy.
Yes. Proposed starting date would be July 20th of 2015. And proposed date of substantial completion would be December 15 of 15.
December 15th.
Yep,
I'm gonna just recheck what I wrote down.
yes,
Courthouse base bid, $232,000.
yes.
Sheriff's Office base bid, $169,000. Alternate 1, $36,600. Alternate 2, $12,500. Alternate 3, $4,500. Alternate 4, $36,100.
That is correct.
For a total of $475,884.
we want Paul to take them back and compare, we'll check them over, since they are open. Paul, do you want, we want them, that,
No, Paul Zobel, or,
yeah, Paul Zobel, I'm sorry, to take that back and.
I wonder if they switched their figures around on the two bidders?
There's quite a bit of difference there.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got a courthouse bid on one of $105,929, and a courthouse bid on the other one of $232,000. You have a sheriff's office bid on one of $204,963, and on the second one, it's $169,000. I'm wondering if it's just a clerical error when they did and reverse their figures.
Can we table this and give those two companies a call? Or do we need to make a decision right now?
I don't see why we couldn't table it and give them a call.
Well, because, okay, actually, the way it's stated is we're accepting the bids at this time. So we have accepted the bids, we've received them, we've accepted them,
And opened them.
and we've opened them, and we can table it till our next meeting.
Well,
The one guy has a start date of
Yeah.
July 20th. I don't know what that would do to his start date.
well, if
The
we,
other guy is August 15th, and that's.
That's probably,
give us some time.
We want to be sure they're right, but if we dilly-dally any longer, we're going to be in trouble.
do you think if we just took a recess on this, would you guys be able to get on the phone and get some clarification before the meeting might be over? We can go on to something else in the agenda and come back to this?
The one, I want to give them that one. Okay.
yeah, which is, I don't think we need a motion, we can just.
We'll
take
come
it.
back to it.
Yeah.
We will come back to this now.
Let's just get clarification on this before we act.
Okay. And we'll bring it back. Okay. Then we will now move on to item number 3. This is a proposed amendment number 1501 to Marshall County, Iowa, ordinance number 16, local sales tax services and public hearing. This is a public hearing is now open to present objections or to arguments in favor of any part of the proposed amendment number 1501 to zoning ordinance number 16. This is local sales and service tax. At this public meeting, were there any written comments
No,
presented?
there was not.
Any questions or objection on file in the auditor's office? She said no. Any individuals attending our public hearing? Are there any individuals that want to present oral comments, questions, or objections to this hearing? None? Then I would make a motion, entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we close the public hearing.
Got a motion
Second it?
and a second? Roll call, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, now we'll move on to item number 4, Resolution 2015-0033. This is second reading of the proposed amendment, number 1501, to Marshall County Ordinance number 16, local sales and service tax. Did Jarrett come in?
You did.
Is there anything that needs to be, or Deanne, is there anything that needs to be?
This is basically just cleaning up some things that has already been done on election side. Everybody has already approved these through the election process. One of the things that, as the auditor, we have to keep our ordinances up to date, and so that's something that we're doing. The only thing that I did notice that someone brought up to me is on the Ferguson one. It says the specific purpose for which the revenues will otherwise be expended is any lawful. And we crossed out corporate, that was part of the verbiage that was from before. It should just be purpose there.
Okay.
And that was omitted when we put this in, so. Other than that, everything else is as it was on the.
Well, over on State
Canvas.
Center, we had that 3 and 4 are switched on Canvas. Can they be switched on this also?
We're going to be switching them on the next
Okay.
reading.
So
yes.
clarification will be updated, I
Yes.
mean, on the wording?
Yeah.
Okay.
And just what was on the canvas, I mean, it's still the same verbiage and stuff. It's just, I'd like to match it up to what was actually out on,
Okay.
when everybody
Yeah.
voted upon it.
Okay, this is the second reading, so we'll bring that back to the meeting. Then I would entertain a motion on this resolution 2015-0033.
Mr. Chairman, I move we adopt resolution 2015-0033, second reading of proposed amendment number 15-01 to Marshall County, Iowa ordinance number 16, local sales and service tax.
I will second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, moving on to our consent agenda. For number 5 is approval of minutes from regular session of June 6, 2015. Approved request for use of the mobile band shell. This is a rental agreement that has been received from LeGrand Pioneer Days requesting to use the mobile band shell Saturday, August 22nd, 2015 for entertainment to celebrate the LeGrand Pioneer Days. Number 7, revised manure management plan, original non-permitted manure management plan. The board has received and placed on file a revised original non-permitted manure management plan and animal confinement feeding operation from Ryan and Brandon Pickard. Pickard Brothers Finishers located in Section 9, Township 82 North, Region 19 West, Logan Township, Marshall County, Iowa, and placed on file. The proposed operation would operate at a non-permitted capacity of 2,499 head of hogs. Item number 8, approved transfer of funds. Transfer number 864, quarterly transfer from Rural Services Fund to Secondary Road Fund in the amount of $465,000, but not to exceed the maximum allowed in Iowa Code 331.429 parentheses B. Transfer number 865, an annual transfer from local option sales tax revenue in the Rural Services Fund to the Secondary Road Fund in the amount of $206,737.55. Transfer number 866 is an annual transfer totaling $22,281.52 from the Urban Renewal Tax Revenue to Low to Moderate Income Housing Fund. And transfer number 867 for $194,525.34 from Capital Projects Fund to Basic Fund for acquisition and equipment of vehicles for the Sheriff and Conservation Departments, and costs paid in error from the General Basic Fund for constructing, remodeling, equipping, and furnishing improvements to the county courthouse and the Sheriff's Office / administration building. Transfer number 868, in a total of $50,000 from the County Attorney Collection Incentive Fund to the General Basic Fund. Item number 9, as audited and authorized the county auditor and recorder to issue payment of same. The listing of claims paid at this meeting will be included with all claims paid for the month of June. The June list of claims will be a part of the first meeting in July. I would entertain a motion on our consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda as printed.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Moving on to item number 10, new Alliant Energy Plan update. Ken Vincent is with us, and I think we got everything set. You ready to go? And how you doing this morning?
I'm good.
You hanging in there okay? Things going good out there?
Can you hear this?
Yeah.
Is a green light on?
Green light?
Green light.
Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good.
Project is going very well. I have a brief PowerPoint I'd like to show you. It's mainly just photographs that we've taken recently. Some are a little bit older, but the most recent ones are from last Thursday. And I will tell you that yesterday, we had a tour for Congressman Blum. And while we were walking through there, there's been a lot more done as far as structural steel than what these pictures show. So it's going very well. And this is just general layout of what it's going to look like. I think you've seen this before. They have settled on the color finally, and it's probably going to be about what you see right there. This is the most recent aerial photograph. It's a couple weeks old. I'll try to point out a few things here. This is the parking area for all the craft people. There are over 300 craft people on site as of last week, and they're adding about 30 some each week. These are all the construction trailers of the various companies that are out there, big warehouse. These two little white things right there, those are the combustion turbines, and then on the end of those are two generators that will be the generators for those combustion turbines. These are the heat recovery steam generators that are like a big boiler. There are tubes that are filled with water in there, and as the exhaust heat comes off of the combustion turbine, it heats up that water, turns it into steam, and then goes over to a steam generator. That steam generator will be located right on top of that platform. It's called a tabletop, and that's where that will be located. This shows some of the cranes. There are 10 large cranes out there that are working on the site, mainly for the structural steel. Here's just another view of it. I might point out that this is the old quarry road, and the natural gas line comes down on the south side of Quarry Road and goes into a gas yard. The gas yard is located right in there, and there are 3 lines that will come out of there. One will go into this plant and fuel the combustion turbines. Another line will go over to the Sutherland station. There are 3 small combustion turbines that are 50 megawatts apiece. They currently burn fuel oil. Those will be converted to natural gas, and there'll be a line that serves those. And then there will be a line that comes out of that gas yard that goes to the Marshalltown distribution system. So there are 3 areas that we'll have needs for gas. This just shows when the generator, excuse me, this is a combustion turbine, when one of these came in, that's the rail siding that they use to bring them in. And they just lifted them up, pulled out the rail car, and then put them on this device. It's called a Goldhofer, and what they do with it, they put the equipment on there, and a guy with a remote control will walk beside it and just walk it down to the site where they're going to install it. This shows the generator for this particular combustion turbine, located on the north end of the combustion turbine. This shows you some of the, this is the picture I took last Thursday. It shows the CT and the generator set right up there by the heat recovery steam generator. See some of the structural steel. There's been quite a bit more put in, especially on the south side. We're looking at the north side right now. There's just another picture before CT number 1 was installed. Just another picture of when it's getting ready to be set at the CT site. I want to talk a little bit about the natural gas pipeline. This is the route. It comes from Northern Border Pipeline, which is up near across Highway 96 in Vienna Township. Comes down 13.5 miles to Marshalltown. It's a 20-inch gas line. Here's just a picture of where it comes across. It went across East Main Street and then came to Quarry Road. Sutherland Station in the background. Here's the bend in the pipe where it comes from East Main Street and then goes to the west along Quarry Road. This pipe is a little different color because it has a different coating on it. This is what is placed directionally bored beneath the Iowa River and the roads. So it has a better quality coating on there, so if there's any scratches or anything, it will not be, it'll be protected. This is just the last 2,000 feet of pipe that last week had not been placed in the trench. It's all welded, it's all coated, it's been tested as far as for nicks and damage to the coating. They put a little charge, electric charge on that, and then it'll make a ticking noise when there's a little, they call them holidays, and they'll go out and treat those, make sure that they're not damaged, and they'll put pipe coating on them.
So they're going to lift that down in the trench?
It'll be lifted. What they do is they have these big Caterpillar type side boom machines that will and they have slings and rollers on those slings. So I'll just move that right over into the ditch. This happens to be right at the northern border location where it dead ends, where it starts, I guess you'd say. I sent this, I put this picture in there because this shows, this was when they were working on the bore across East Main Street Road and up to the river. They had to install what I call a quarter water road. These are large, big timbers that were installed. You just couldn't drive down on this piece of ground. This is heading over to Twinkle Hill. This gives you an idea what the boring machine looks like. They'll bore through and then they'll pull a larger piece of pipe through. You can see in the background where that's Twinkle Hill, and then that's between the boring and the river is between there. This is looking on Twinkle Hill from the current border station, the gas border station, up on Twinkle Hill Road. And this is several weeks ago, well, at least a couple, 3 weeks ago when this was taken. This is all buried now. Just another shot of a border road, and they're ready to put that pipe down in the ground and weld it together. This is what some of the equipment looks like at the border station up in the northeast part of the county. Those are odorant tanks. There's a large one outside, and then inside there is a smaller odorant tank. This line will be odorized right at the pipeline, so if there's any kind of leak, it will be found. This shows restoration. The pipe has all been buried. Everything has been put back to normal, and the farmer was able to get in there and plant. So he's pretty happy about it, I think. And that's my new office. What do you have for questions?
When will the pipeline be done? Are they done with that now, Ken, or?
Hopefully they'll get done with the actual construction of the pipeline this week, maybe next week. But there's still a lot more work to be done. The northern border has to come in and coordinate with Alliant and the pipeliners connecting to their pipe and finish the border station up in the northeast part of the county. And then the gas yard at the plant site needs to be completed as well. But most of the pipe is in the ground. I think it was just like 2,000 feet last week. The rains kind of slowed them up. Restoration, they kind of have to wait until there's a little better conditions. They don't want to be out there mudding in the restoration. They want to do it right.
Will that crew start moving out here on East
Actually,
Main?
they had a 200, no, I don't know how, about 300 people on site,
Yeah.
but they're down to maybe 150 now.
No kidding.
Because the welders, they brought a lot of welders in, and that's why it went so quickly. Good pipe coaters came in, everything went pretty well, so they're down to restoration and tying in at the 2 locations.
Good, okay. Any questions for Ken?
It's always amazing.
And I like your new office. It'd be easy to decorate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right,
Correction.
thanks, Ken. All right, moving on to number 11, but before we do that, I'm gonna insert number 17 first, and we got Dave Reinberg here with us, and this is a zoning waiver, separation distance from a livestock confinement facility. Discussion and possible action on a request from Blue Valley Pork, owner, operator of the facility in question. They got the legal descriptions in there, and this is for construction of a livestock confinement facility, but with a minimum separation distance of 60 foot from the adjacent public road right-of-way. And they give us an attachment, and I guess, David, do you want to explain any of this, or?
Thank you for taking.
You just go out the microphone, yeah.
We can hear you, but it goes on tape, for posterity, so.
Thanks for taking the time to meet today. Do you have pictures of the existing site?
We
Or is that the-
got any? I don't think we do we?
It's in, it should be in the, we may just have the waiver.
Just a waiver, yeah.
There's an existing building that's like 8 or 10 feet off the road that was built back in 1970. And excuse me, I think in 2006, we did a variance, or you guys granted a variance on another building that was at 60 feet. And this would be a new gestation barn that we're trying to put up, and it would be more on the east end of our site. And it would sit to the north side of the building that is like 12 feet off the road. So it's kind of hit back, but in order to get it to fit, the 100 is too far out there. That's why we're asking for the variance.
Okay. Is this zoning waiver that we or John and?
We approve it.
I think it comes to us.
It comes to us, we approve it. This is very similar to the ones we've done in the past.
Yeah.
You know, we've got I don't think we've ever not approved
No.
one, especially when it comes from the zoning people, and they said that it was fine.
Then I would entertain a motion.
I would motion that we approve the waiver for the zoning separation districts for the large livestock confinement operation for Blue Valley Pork.
I'd second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
And Thompson.
Yes.
Very good, David. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
You moved on me.
Yeah, we did, thank you.
All right, moving on back to number 11, warrants outstanding for over 1 year. Pursuant to section 331.554, parentheses 7, Code of Iowa, warrants outstanding for more than 1 year shall be canceled by the auditor, and the amount of the warrant shall be credited to the fund upon which the warrants were drawn. And the two warrants that we have, Richard Collins, $1. Ruben Martinez, $87.60. So,
You know, this is something we go through, and there
Every
seems
year.
to be one or two every year. Mr. Chairman, I would motion that we approve the county auditor and recorder to cancel these warrants.
I second it.
a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to item number you want to go back to Paul? Oh, okay, I didn't see it for a minute. We'll go back to, now you had said, David, that there was a mistake.
I went back and redid all the math. And Deanne, I just want to go over the figures for Renaissance Incorporated before I say anything.
Okay.
Courthouse was 232,000 even. Sheriff's was 169,000 even. Alternate 1, 36,600. Alternate 2, 12,500. Alternate 3, 4,500. Alternate 4, 36,100.
Correct.
That total should be 490,700. So as Chairman Gravenbauer said, he was enjoying my stubby fingers on the calculator. I must have hit one
You
too
need
many
to trim your-
buttons.
Trim your fingers.
Sorry about that.
All right, both, I guess, comments from Paul, any?
Well, we, as you recommended, we go in and we make some phone calls, so we made one phone
Okay.
call to E&H Restoration, and we're gonna recommend at this time that that's the bid that you take. That is the lowest bid, and we verified his numbers, and he was comfortable with those numbers. We're gonna recommend that we take the base bid of the sheriff's office, the base bid at the courthouse. We're gonna recommend alternate 1 and alternate 3. At this time, we're gonna not recommend alternate 2 and alternate 4. And the reasons for alternate 2 is because where that is located where we're going to add a freezer up to the sheriff's office, and the freezer should cover most of that wall. So we're gonna just refer that back to, if we have to have any additional work there, there's a square footage price on that, and we're comfortable with that. Alternate 4 has to do with some stucco on the face of the courthouse, but we are going to have to do some restoration above the line of the stone line of the courthouse, and we can finish that at a later date. And both of those companies were recommending that. So, to reiterate, we would recommend the sheriff's office base bid for E&H Restoration, courthouse base bid, alternate 1 and alternate 3, and that should add up to $325,177. Now, that will not be the total price of this project, because once they get involved in it, as they get higher into up the wall, they may find some things that we need to fix. But we have in the bid process, numbers on square footage that we could run into. And I'm pretty comfortable with, between the bond and the capital money that we have in our budget, that we should be able to be just fine with this project. And then we also visited with Brian from BNC Solutions, who is our engineer on this project, and he felt very comfortable with this bid.
How much of a leeway do we, I know it's hard to foresee what may be behind those blocks.
Yeah.
I mean,
We have had some water damage on the north side of the jail and the east side of the jail. Some of the water's gotten in between the joints, but I'm not sure how much that will be, but just to let you know and be very clear that there could be some additional charge on top of this $325,177.
but after we get in there, we don't really have a choice. We have to,
No.
it has to be
but-
done
But I think with our bonding and with our capital improvement money, we should be fine.
Okay, Paul, again, what was your new total? 325?
For what we recommended is $325,177, and that is the 2 base bids, alternate 1 and alternate 3.
Any other
How
questions?
we do, Dave?
We're right on the money.
Okay.
Any other comments, Brian or Lucas? You guys are in on this? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Paul. Well then, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, we've been working on this project for too doggone long. It gives
How
me.
long is too doggone long?
We would have liked to have had it done last year. I would motion that we award the masonry repairs for the sheriff's office and the courthouse to E&H Restoration LLC in the total amount of $325,177. That amounts to the base bid of the courthouse of $105,929, the base bid at the sheriff's office of $204,963, alternate number 1 of $13,835, and alternate number 3 for $450.
And could you refresh my memory on the start and end date?
August 21st? Well, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say-
You're our leader. Go ahead.
August 21st to start and November 30th to end. So
Thank you.
it'll be done in this.
I second it.
We need a motion first.
Oh, I thought he did.
I did.
You've got a motion by Thompson, second by Patton. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right. We'll get started on that project. Moving on now to item number 12, personnel policy, Marshall County Health Insurance Revision. Marshall County agrees to, 6.1 in the personnel policy, Marshall County agrees to offer coverage to each full-time employee with group health insurance. The county will pay a portion of the cost of the policy for each full-time employee. Family coverage may be attained at initial employment through payroll deduction at the set rate by the Board of Supervisors. The initial employment family coverage is available under the conditions in the current health insurance policy. Insurance is effective on the first day of the month following initial employment. The county will pay a portion of the cost of the policy for group health insurance. Bargaining units are subject to their contracts. All other coverages shall pay the rates set annually by the Board of Supervisors at the time of policy renewal, effective July 1 of that year. That is our health insurance, 6.1 in the personnel policy. I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the 6.1 health insurance revision to the Marshall County personnel policy.
I would second that.
You can as soon as we get it on the table for discussion.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Discussion, we'll open it up for discussion. Paul, if you want to. I think it should be on here. You said.
You know, I'm Paul Crawford, I'm with the County Attorney's Office. I'm also a member of the Employee Benefit Committee. I have been contributing to the family health insurance coverage here since 1994. I started out as a single coverage person when I started working here in 1987. I'm grateful that I have health insurance as a benefit here in Marshall County. It was certainly a factor in my decision to come work here, to have a employer that would provide me with health insurance. What is of concern to me, and I think every non-union employee that can be affected by this proposed amendment, as well as action item number 13 on your agenda today, is the procedure by which this change is being made. And that is basically the lack of notice to the employees. Notice is, I think in everybody's experience, important, helping you make decisions. Just yesterday, I needed to make a trip to Des Moines last night. I had about a quarter tank of gas. I figured I got enough to make it to Des Moines, but not sure whether I got enough to go back. So yesterday morning I looked, and the prices here in Marshalltown were $2.43 a gallon. You know, that was really good price, but you know, typically, you know, Bondurant or Des Moines, you know, they've usually got a better gas price. So I decided to go ahead and make the trip down there to Des Moines, and got to Des Moines and looked around Des Moines. They were $2.64, and that was 21 cents more a gallon than Marshalltown had. So reconsidered my decision about buying gas in Des Moines. So unfortunately, I also looked at my gas gauge, and it was getting close to empty. So I stopped at the Bondurant station, one of the Bondurant stations there on 330, on 65. And fortunately, I had in the past saved up, planned ahead, gotten some fuel discounts for one of the gas stations there. So I ended up with 18 cents worth of discounts. So I ended up paying what was $2.57. I ended up paying $2.39 a gallon. So I thought that was great. And so I get back to Marshalltown, and I look at the signs outside the gas stations here in Marshalltown. And here in Marshalltown, by last night, it was $2.59. It had gone up 16 cents a gallon just in a matter of a few hours yesterday. No notice, no indication, because you know, usually around here, Tuesday mornings is when they start changing the gas prices. Well, they, without notice, you know, raised them by a tremendous amount. And that's, I guess, an analogy to what my concerns are here. With the way the changes have been proposed, I guess one thing I want to do is ask questions. The Employee Benefit Committee got wind of what the board's thinking about. We didn't get notice until maybe middle of May. And then June 19th, we sent an email from the committee to the Board of Supervisors saying these were our concerns about this short notice and increase in the employee contributions. And we've gotten no reply from the board as to, not even the acknowledgement, you know, hey, thank you for, we received your email, we'll consider it. I mean, just nothing, And so I have no feedback. And so I got to ask the question, why? The general non-union employee population of this, the figures I I've been given show that, I think there's gonna be a total of 72 non-union employees are gonna be affected by this change. And yet, to my understanding, there's been no courthouse-wide or county employee-wide announcement of the possibility that these changes are going to occur. It's only basically because I happen to be on the employee benefit committee that I knew about it. Why, the whole question is, you know, why no more advance notice? Why are the employees shut out? As opposed to union employees, they had, as I figure, 6 months to a year advance notice that their employee contributions to the healthcare plans were going up. Why the discrepancy? No question. And finally, I guess my biggest concern and question is, the way I'm reading this is, you're asking to amend the 6.1 in the personnel policy, and it says that coverages shall pay the rates set annually by the Board of Supervisors at the time of policy renewal, effective July 1st of that year. Well, if you set the contribution rates, which is action item 13, at this time, June 30th, it says the rates are effective July 1st of that year. That's tomorrow. And that's the biggest gripe, I think, that all the employees have as far as lack of notice. Just like, you know, gas prices. I was irked when you know, prices go up 16 cents in one day. That's certainly outrageous. People get.
And what do you do about it?
I have to deal with it, but at least I know about it.
But they don't actually tell us when gas is gonna go up. McDonald's don't say, hey, my quarter pounder's going up 13 cents tomorrow. I mean, that isn't, I don't know if I address that scenario or not. But I know what you're saying.
But you have the opportunity to let us have a chance to plan for it, to save for it. Because what this amendment does is, and number 12 is.
Okay, well, before we go to, can we just, we got a motion and a second on this one, and then I think what you're talking about is number 13
Well,
versus number 12.
what I'm getting to is a suggested amendment that you have for number 12. Okay. So,
Okay.
continue?
Okay.
Okay, all right. What I'm suggesting for number 12 is that, as I said, we're talking about basically 1 day's advance notice to employees that, hey, your contributions are going up. And I guess that gives me, my next sign here is make predictions, okay? This change in the language in number 12 basically gives the board carte blanche for future situations to change the contribution amounts and rates any amount it wants to, and essentially any time it wants to, with any notice or no notice. And that's what concerns me. That, you know, this change here may be, you say, well, gee, it's not that many dollars a month that it's being changed. Well, next time around, or sometime down the road, it can be, you know, employees contributing $50, $100, $200 a month. And if that change comes around with 1 day's notice, like, hi, employees, starting tomorrow, you're gonna have to pay, $50, $100, $250 a month toward your employee health insurance. That is what concerns me. And so what I would propose in terms of an amendment is that the language stay the same except for saying that, the last sentence, all other coverages shall pay the rates set annually by the Board of Supervisors at the time of policy renewal, effective July 1st of the following year. That gives the employees notice, time to plan, to budget, to cope with a situation instead of it having it get sprung on them. And so.
I have a
we
question
don't-
for the auditor. In this particular instance, if this was enacted today as it is written, when is the first time that it could be adjusted in the employees' salaries? To my understanding, it would be August 1st.
Correct.
So it's not July 1st.
No, you have to give a 30-day notice.
Okay.
Plus accounting needs time too. Isn't that correct, Mary?
We can enact it in July. If these rates are effective July 1st, they will go into effect July.
Okay, I just got two different answers. If this is enacted, it goes into July 1st?
I would go by what Mary is
Okay.
saying. My understanding is that it was gonna take a little bit to get that into there.
Okay.
And that we were needing a 30-day notice.
'Cause in
Sounds
the-
like that's not the case.
In the
so.
discussions that we have had with the auditor, that also sits on the committee, and we, contrary to what you're saying, have had good conversation with her and kept each other apprised of this. That was my understanding. It would be August 1st. Okay,
Yeah, it sounds like we're able to do sooner than that if you wanted to.
okay.
The way it's worded, it says effective July 1st. So I'm just urging you to take the employees into account and give us some notice, and don't turn this into a situation like the gas hikes. Thank you.
Unlike the gas rates may come down. Chances are insurance isn't gonna come down. You know, that's, so,
Then that's even more of a reason to give us no more notice.
that's the reality of things right now.
Well, we got a motion and a second, that's what we're still in a discussion. If we said July 1st, but we moved the start date to August 1st
For this particular one,
for this particular one?
I would certainly have no trouble doing that. Adopting the resolution, going from here out, but in this particular instance, making it applicable August 1st rather than July 1st. But I'd like to see the policy,
Well,
change
Mr.
as we
Chairman,
stated it.
Then I would move to amend this motion by striking out July 1st, inserting August 1st for 2015 only.
And then naming July 1st in
Then we'll,
following.
well, then it would go back to July 1st because my amendment would state that would do this only for July 1st. Or the amendment would state that we would amend this by striking out July 1, inserting August 1 for July, or for the year 2015 only. So then it would go back to July 1 in years to come.
I would,
Oh, wait, we got,
I
okay,
would,
you're gonna
I would second
second
that.
second that
And then
amended motion.
we would do our best to try and get that accomplished. We get these about the end of March, the 1st of April. And so that, we'll try harder next year to get this thing put together.
Well, that's the quandary we get into.
I know,
Is we don't get
We
the
don't know
renewal
ourselves.
figures till,
He'll give us that date, and then we might not get it that date.
exactly.
We'll try. That'd be our best shot at it.
We got, Wendy wants to say.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come
come
up to
over
the
to
mic.
yeah.
increased by June 30th, and it goes into effect July 1st, and we don't have any more notice than that, you don't have an opportunity to switch to your spouses, or, I mean, if we aren't gonna get any more notice than that, it's a moot point. I mean, August isn't gonna make any difference if you don't give anybody an opportunity to switch to their spouse's insurance.
Yeah, no, you understand, that's not our thought process.
But they can't make an informed decision.
Yeah, our insurance.
That's why I liked Paul's suggestion with the following year, it gives people the opportunity to make an informed decision about their finances. That's setting people up for failure, in my opinion.
And you're speaking of not this year, but in
the future.
potential, my goodness, down the road.
Right.
Kind of things,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, if they have to make a decision on June 30th on what they're gonna do with their insurance for their family, and they don't even know what the plan is for the county, how can you make a decision?
And you're not receiving any information when you're in insurance or whatever,
Well, I'm on the
Insurance.
benefit committee, so I know, but how many employees
Okay.
have no idea?
is the benefit committee supposed to translate get it out to the rest of the staff or not? So the benefit committee didn't know that there was a possibility of an increase that could come up.
We don't know what you all are going to decide, and several people suggested it, but it was, kind of needed to come from up above.
You've seen the amounts, though.
Right, but it could be a lot more in future years, and then what do you decide? I mean, and then if you start losing people that move over to spouses or another plan, then what happens to our plan?
Do you anticipate a movement?
Not for me, I'm unmarried, I'm divorced, but what about other people?
Yeah. Just looking around, we get a little bit of an idea of what's going on at Fisher's and what's going on at Lennox and what's going on at the school, some of the other large employers of the town, and by far, you've got a better deal here.
And I understand that, but as you have, we've heard I've been here almost 10 years, but we've heard many, many times that salary's not that great, but the benefits are. And now those are slipping.
But they're slipping the whole nation.
Right,
I
but,
mean,
you know.
Everybody's in the same boat
But
that
we hear that
we
over
don't,
and
we,
over and over,
yeah.
you know.
Slip, the
Your
word.
salaries aren't great, but your benefits are.
The verb slipping bothers me, because it isn't slipping. $11 a month isn't slipping.
No, but
That
that was
just
always
little-
the big plus, and now it's next year, well, we don't know what's gonna happen, and you're not gonna get any notice to make changes.
I can,
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
And the concern.
I understand what you're
the people
saying.
of the benefits committee,
Yeah.
and I'm sure the other employees that don't have any idea.
and I won't speak for my counterparts. My intention was to never raise any of these rates greater than would cause us to lose our grandfathered status. That being said, in the last 5 years, there has been a 62% increase in the healthcare rates.
And I understand rates are going up, but why can't?
That's a huge amount.
Why can't the union employees get the same benefit? The non-union employees get the same benefit as union employees with some advance notice?
Those were contracts that were done with a 3-year advancement. Typically, it has been very common practice that things that go into effect in some of the wage increases in the union employees, that the non-union shared in the same amount. There was no secret when the contracts were done 2 years ago that the union employees would be picking up a percentage of the increase, which they will be. This hasn't been a secret. It's been discussed and put on the table with the former auditor, with the current auditor, with the benefits committee. You know, healthcare is an extremely large dollar amount, and we've got a phenomenally generous package. I don't think anybody can argue with that.
I guess we're all asking for a chance to be able to make informed decisions and to have some advance notice. That's just respect.
Well,
Do you really want to make a change to the personnel policy that includes a one-time change for this year? This is a manual that we look at to implement all of our benefits to our employees, and I'm not sure this is the place to do it. I'd really like you to reconsider that.
so what would you suggest then? I mean, just,
Take this back, look at it, make the changes that need to be made, and put it into effect with all of the rest of the personnel policy changes that are coming down the pipe. Rather than single this out so that you can increase non-union health insurance rates.
I guess the problem I have is we would be asking for what, 72 people, with 38 of those people going from 0 to 1176
Per month.
per month. And I'm just, you know, again, if who's supposed to pay? We're already paying what, 800, and county's already paying
$12.
how much?
$812.
$812.
Well, that's
Well, that's what-
72 single individuals.
Yeah.
But what I can answer is how many of those are union and covered under a contract, and how many are non-union. So that figure, that would be great.
There are 33 union and 38 non-union of the 71 current. The numbers fluctuate.
Yeah. So there's actually 38 individuals
Correct.
that would be going from 0 to 1176.
And of the proposed change that was put forth by Bernie Lowe and Associates, it would be $11.76 of the employee contribution per month, which is a change from 0 contribution per month.
Okay, Mary, just so I understand, there's 38 non-union single policies?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have the one dependent and the more, 2 and more dependents also?
There are 10 employee plus one plan and 24 family.
Okay.
So it equates to about $7,800, which is not going to affect the county budget that much, but it may affect the individual's budget.
Well, from what we were understanding from Paul's discussion was he wasn't concerned about the $11.76, but he was concerned about us dumping $500 or some figure like that, you know, later on.
That's correct.
And would you concur with that then?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't want to speak for other folks. I mean, I'm not saying the 1176 is a meaningless amount for all employees. It may be for some other folks. I don't know. I can't speak for everyone. But what I was looking at was in the long term is that the way this amendment is drafted now, it allows this same kind of scenario as we're seeing here today play out next June 30th, that the employees are going to be stuck with a $100 a month, $200 a month, whatever contribution to the health plan with 1 day's notice. And that's where I think the budgeting, the saving concerns, the respect concerns play even a bigger role.
Our grandfather clause allows $24.90 to be added to the single. So in splitting that in half approximately, that's the $11.76. That's what we come up with this year. So if we wouldn't do the $11.76 this year, we could do the $24.90 next year.
Is that
And then we'd hit our grandfather clause and it wouldn't go up anymore for another year. Grandfather clause for our one dependent is $89.24. Currently, you're paying $85, so that's just $4 and some cents there. And for the two and more dependents, grandfather clause is $141.74, and you're paying $135. So there we're looking at, you know, about $6 there. Then we're done. Now, did you have a question when I was talking here?
What do you mean?
You're done with what you
With our
would be
grandfather
allowed to
clause.
change and remain keeping your grandfathered status, which we want to work very hard to maintain. At this point, Bernie Lowe and Associates has not conclusively told us, because of the absolute ambiguity with the Unaffordable Care Act, of whether we will be able to keep our grandfathered status or lose it. There are so many changes in the health insurance industry almost on a daily basis. This is literally impossible to predict. It's a moving target.
The grandfather clause just simply means we're running off of what we started here back in 2010. And if we lose the grandfather clause, then they come in and they give us a whole new ballgame. It's like buying it all over from scratch. And we don't want to do that until it does disappear. And it will disappear someday, but.
2018 is kind of the target
Mhm.
date.
The way I think I understand what Mary is saying is I don't know if item number 12 necessarily has to have action today because they're in the process of working on the personnel policy. I think she's suggesting that, excuse me, that you get the wordage the way that you want it, but when you're approving that policy, in the end, when everybody gets done working on it, this will be in the policy then. I don't know that that has to be decided today. Number 13, excuse me, is another decision.
But doesn't 13 affect, 12 affects 13 for a starting date?
If you don't enact number 12, you cannot do
13.
13 because you will be in violation of the personnel policy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think down the road, we need to have something different prior to the year 2018, because there's going to be some big changes. I don't know that we need to do that today.
Well, we do, I guess we need to either do something today or we table 12 and 13. And then, quite frankly, then the county is going to make up that $7,800, correct?
We budgeted with a 12% increase, and we came in with a 5% increase. So there is ample money in the budget to take care of this.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Mr. Hyatt.
Well, first off, I think the main point is, in 12 and 13 kind of go together. You're looking at number 13. Employer contribution, $2.1 million annually. And those costs are going up. Times have changed. Cost of healthcare is skyrocketing. Talking about the 62% in 5 years. Just saw a report in May where Wellmark, Blue Cross Blue Shield, rates are going up 30%. They're not rates, but their expenses have gone up 30% since the enactment of Obamacare. And we don't see them going down. And so I think the point of this discussion today, as I'm understanding, is we need to make sure that we're being cognizant of this issue, that the county is covering their costs,
and that we are keeping our benefits in line to the private sector, because that's what the public demands us to do. And I respect the board for taking a look at this and working on this. But I think what this does a little bit is it does pit the non-unions versus the unions. This is the first public meeting that we've had with this discussion. I'm glad we're having it. I wish we would have had it at the exact same time that the union contracts.
And see, that's what I can see the fallacy between union and non-union. We never get on the same page. So somebody's got to take the first step, either them, the union, or non-union, and then we can meet like that.
And I think there was rumor that this was coming. I mean, I think everyone kind of saw, oh, this probably will happen, but we didn't know for sure. And yes, there was the personnel policy committee meetings we started having in May, maybe end of April, and then the benefits committee was in on that. But it was, ultimately, there was still the uncertainty of what exactly was gonna happen. And so the timing thing, I think at that discussion, I know you wouldn't have known the exact rates at that point in time from the union
Right.
negotiations, but if at
It's
that
impossible.
point, it's impossible to know. But at that point in time, the discussion of, hey, we're gonna make a commitment of this, this is what we're gonna do, that would have been fantastic.
We didn't know these rates March 1st.
Yep, and I certainly understand that. And, but secondly, you know, where it says bargaining units are subject to their contracts. Now, when the unions in the contract stated that they will be paying a portion of their health insurance, did they gain anything else in that contract for taking payments, making payments to their insurance?
No.
There's
Actually, there's been huge changes in the union contracts in the last few years. They went from 2,080 hours to 1,040 hours on some conversions and payouts. It's an ongoing negotiation. I'm sure when we sit down at the bargaining table this next time, that healthcare costs will be a large portion of it. You know, these are unsustainable costs.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about it. If this was a private business and we have an expense increasing 62% in a 5-year period, I don't know if that business would sustain itself.
Exactly. What was the salary increase that they had received in that contract?
Both union and non-union received 2% this year.
Jailers did not.
They were slightly less, but that was because of some change in hours. But
And they did get extra assignment pay and.
but when you factored everything together, it was
So there were other things that they did get.
exactly. But because of the change in the hours and everything, the increase was less, but it actually factored in because of the change in hours to approximately exactly 2%.
Okay. I mean, that's the main thing, is the last thing we want to do is have the union versus the non-union. And that when it says, you know, the bargaining units are subject to the contracts. Okay, so non-unions, you're gonna pay in, and unions, you're gonna pay in, but then we'll give you this to soften the blow. If that's occurring, that is certainly unfair to the non-unions, and we don't want that to happen. But I think for the sake of I'm looking ahead to 13, you can work your wording out on 12 that you'd like. I think the amendment on number 13, I think would be appropriate, because the budget has been completed for this fiscal year, and the appropriations were done, I believe, in the last meeting, that you maintain the numbers, everything on there, except for the single rate, continue the single rate at 0 for the non-union employees, and the commitment today from the board is that there will be an increase for employees in the next fiscal year. We know that the commitment is obviously here, that's why it's being discussed. I've actually talked with employees that would be affected by this, and they recognize the cost, and they are certainly okay with it. I think it's more of the notice, and when you have the contracts were made before, but this is the first public meeting discussion here, I think that would be the most appropriate. But look, I think this is moving in the right direction. I think it's the skin in the game, You said it before, I think it's fair, I think the public demands this of us, of what we do here, so.
You think they are in favor of a $24, we'll just say a raise next year versus
What raise-
11 this year?
What rates did you have from the school district, Fisher and Lennox?
I didn't bring the one in the school didn't even come in close. But, what their, Fisher's paying, singles, the single people are paying 113 compared to 0 for us. And we're asking for $11.76. Single plus one was $260. Now we're talking per month. And, right now you're paying 85, and we're asking for 89.24. Family was 346, and right now you're paying 135, we're asking for 141. See, and then the only one that doesn't max out what we were talking about, our grandfather clause, is the single one, and that would max out at $24.90. What happens when you ask for and receive more from the individuals than what the grandfather clause is, then we lose our grandfather clause. They come back in, they renegotiate from 0, and that, we don't want to do that. This has been, we're actually using figures from back in 2010. So that's to our benefit.
And then Lennox was similar to those
Yeah,
numbers?
yeah, it was. And the one for the school, I didn't bring that paper. I don't know why I didn't. But you got to be careful comparing apples to apples. And trying to compare apples to apples, their policy isn't as good as our policy. Their total contribution was less, which probably means that the quality of that insurance is less. Chances are. And they were paying more. And that was just in the paper last week. That's where I pulled that one out, and I didn't bring it.
But the bottom line is, we got a good deal here. Got a good deal here. And whether it be 24 or whether it be 11, it's still a good deal compared to anywhere. And so that's the decision you guys gotta make, whether it's a now or later, what's the risk of doing it later versus now.
The last thing we want to do is make it look like we're the Godfathers. You know, that's not what it is. You know, goodness, we're just trying to help run a business, and that's how we have to look at it.
It's good policy for you guys to be working on this, and I certainly appreciate it.
And there again, that's hard to balance that when we compare, you know, Fisher's, Emerson, or we're going to call them, and we're not even asking for as much money as they're paying.
Did you compare salaries as well?
Well, no,
It's hard. You're from that side of the game too, and you understand that too. The other thing, talking about what's coming down the road, and we're real concerned about this, and we don't know the answer, and that's the excise tax that's going to pop in, that dubbed Cadillac program. That could cost us $300,000. On top
That's,
of this.
it depends on what it's gonna be.
We don't know yet.
We're probably between 170,000 and 238,000. It depends on what multiplier effect they put on it.
Yeah, I was using the,
If it's $300,000,
and it could be, but that'd be.
I don't wanna be
extreme.
explaining that one.
Yeah.
Mary, you said, okay, we budgeted 12%, we're only using 5% with this increase. What in the past have we done when we I guess, over budgeted, or, I mean, it's always been hard to figure how much to budget when you're looking in that crystal ball back in February. That 5% that we're looking at, what have we done? We've always counties always absorbed that or paid that themselves, or is that employee paying that 5%?
That's the county's portion,
County's portion is
is the 5%.
the 5%.
That was one of the comments I had.
Yeah, thanks.
But you know, this is a confusing thing on the right way to direct this. I guess in a way, everybody has, if you've got any kind of communication at all with radio or TV or anything, you know that the healthcare thing is a mess. Nobody knows where they stand. Nobody knows what could happen down the road. Everybody should know there's a change coming, but you don't know when the tsunami's gonna hit, I guess, and you don't know when it's gonna affect us. To say what is right on this 6.1, I don't have an answer. You know, it looks like it's something that we should table maybe and bring it back, but on the other side of it, then you know, the money we raise as revenue comes from the taxpayers. You know, I don't know, I just.
Okay, currently you have a motion and a second on the floor.
Or we have an amended motion also.
Correct.
You have to do the amendment first.
You have to vote on the amendment first and then go back to the motion
No,
as per Robert's.
Mary was saying that the amendment may cause problems with our policy, personnel policy.
If we're going to vote on the amendment first, then you go back to the original motion. So if the consensus is that the amendment is going to cause consternation,
I was discussing the amendment.
yep, you can vote accordingly and then go back to the original motion.
So the amendment is what we're gonna vote on first here. And that was the change from July 1 to August 1.
For
one
your motion for your amendment was to change to August 1st from July 1st for 2015 only, and then revert back to July 1st for every year hereafter. Or until some other board changes the personnel policy manual, which they can do.
I guess we have to be concerned about personnel policy. Are we gonna screw it up if we do this? Or are we gonna have a little thing in the parentheses in there?
The board can change the policy manual at any time.
See, there again, we're not even clear on how we want this to say. How can we vote on something we don't even, I'm not clear on. I'm not clear with it. I know what I want to do, but we're not getting to it this way, you know.
What do you wanna do?
See, I know what I want to do because I don't know what I want to do. That makes a lot of sense, but, you know, I understand where Paul's coming from about, you know, tomorrow would be the day it changes, but again, and I say this, you know, with a lot of respect, golly, people have to know healthcare is changing. I mean, it isn't just something that just fell out of the sky last night, you know, on your way to Des Moines when your gas prices were fluctuating. So they have to know something is going, you know, is coming down the pipe. And that's the reason originally I had no problem in leaving that effective July 1st date in there. I also looked at it next year, if it could either go up $11 this year or $23 next, or the whole total next year. But do we know it's gonna go up the full total next year? I mean, is it gonna go to 24 next year? We don't know.
That's your decision.
You know,
I was in both meetings, the benefit meeting and the personnel policy meeting, and there was definitely, everybody was understanding that, yes, we know things are changing. That was not, in our huge discussions, even Denny, you were in some of those discussions as well, it was definitely known, hey, this is gonna change, you know, how are we gonna make this change and when? And consensus from both of them were, we would just like to have notice. And, you know, this is gonna affect 38 people, and we're just asking for more notice for these people. And that was kind of the main consensus from both groups, was the notice and giving more time, because they've never had to pay. And this is something that's completely new to them. I think $11.76 is a great rate? Yes, of course. My husband works for Fisher, I know what those numbers are as well. So, you know, I see both sides of that. But I also know that for my employees, and, you know, personally in my department, I would like to be able to say, you know what, we're gonna give you some notice, you know, the board has decided, yeah, oh yeah, we understand that you need to put some money into this. You know, employees are gonna be like, yeah, I understand that, but it's not gonna happen until this time frame.
You know, we're
So-
talking 33 cents a day,
Mhm.
11.76.
No. And I understand that. I'm not saying anything about the rate. I think it's just more of the notice in it. And, you know, I agree completely with what Jarrett was saying as well. We agree that you guys need to be on the forefront of getting a handle of this and starting to get the employees to pay on more of it. And, you know, the union got a year notice, and I guess that's what we were kind of hoping for as well. Are we gonna get that? Maybe not. As, you know, as a taxpayer as well, you know, I understand that, you know, we get a good rate even with 11.76. But that's currently, personally, that's not affecting me. I'm an employee plus dependents. So mine's only going up, you know, just a few dollars, where those 38 employees are gonna have to pay.
So if yours is going up a few dollars,
Mhm.
why shouldn't the 38 people be willing to spend a few dollars?
I think they're willing to spend it. I think they just needed a little bit more notice so they can put it in their budget. You know, everybody was told that they were getting a percentage raise. You know, some of what I've heard from just several people is that, you know, now our raise is going towards that. And they weren't budgeting for that. So I agree. We need to put the money in and we need to put more in.
We talk about skin in the game. This is an ideal way, you know, that everybody has skin in the game.
And I
And
agree with that.
I know the thing is, the obstacle is the starting date.
Correct.
What if we made the starting date January 1?
The non-union employees also opted several years ago to up their co-pays. So they have put skin in the game involuntarily. So
What year was
that's-
that? Do you remember?
2009.
Yeah,
2009.
longer than that, yes. But I mean, you know, you can't say they don't have skin in the game because I was on there and I'm like, yeah, I'll pay a higher co-pay.
Are the co-pays any different today for union or non-union?
No. But we voluntarily said, yeah, we know it's going up, so we'll opt for higher co-pays.
What are the co-pays, do you know? I'm just curious.
There's a $25 copay
Okay.
Mhm.
for an office visit.
Mhm. Okay.
I will call for the question.
Okay. What is your question?
Well, that's calling
Let's
for the
vote.
vote. The first thing we have to vote on is the amendment.
And the amendment again was?
We're going to change the amendment as stated, cross out July 1st, insert August 31st for the year of 2015 only.
I thought it was for August 1st.
August
What
1st.
did I say?
31st.
I'm sorry, August 1st.
And
I
then
don't
after
know.
August, after 2015, you're going back to July 1st.
We should ask when we restate these motions, we should ask them to restate it.
Yeah, that's right.
Then we're right.
So what was stated before was August 1st, 2015 of this year, make it effective for this year as that. And then after that, it'd be effective July 1st of that year, which is what the changes would be in the personnel policy.
And I guess we could always take it out of the personnel policy, couldn't we? I mean, of course,
It would disappear after this year.
Please don't.
what's that? Please don't.
And in respect to that, Mary, what other complications will this cause?
Well, you will have to send out notice of this.
Where if we would change the personnel policy as a whole, it'd be one notice? I think this is confusing enough. I'm not ready to vote on it. I'm not ready to, we can't, I guess I don't know what we can do, because I'm just I'm not happy with the amendment.
Why don't we vote on the change to the amendment? After that, I'm going to make a second amendment, putting a year on this change that I think will satisfy everybody. And then we can go on to item number 13, and we can make a proposed change there.
So we are voting on the amendment that was made.
Yes.
That's true.
Let's vote on the amendment first.
Well, we've got a motion and a second, but that was
On the
original.
amendment, and then I'm gonna
We
make
do
a
the
second
amendment
amendment.
Okay.
So I just need to do a roll call
Yes,
Mhm.
and this is on the amendment only.
on the
Yep,
amendment only,
yep.
which is stating of the August 1st, 2015 of this year, effective July 1st of that year afterwards. That's what you guys are
Correct.
voting upon.
Yep.
Okay? Patton,
No,
Gravenbauer,
No.
Thompson,
No. The amendment I'm going to propose to item 6.1 on the health insurance is everything remains the same. The effective date will be July 1st of that year, and the start date will be 2016, which will give everybody 1 year's notice that this is coming down. We're not talking a lot of money here. We are talking, and I've been very appreciative of the comments that have been made today about skin in the game, the comments that all our employees understand, as our fellow elected officials, that we have substantial increases over the last 5 years in our health care, and that this is a huge problem. So my amendment is going to be the same, but that this policy become effective July 1st, 2016.
Can you read all that amendment? So,
well,
It's a real,
Just a
it's a
minute.
real short amendment. It's the exact
Okay,
same
go ahead,
thing to
go ahead.
6.1 with an effective date of July 1st, 2016,
May
rather
I,
than 2015.
may I make a suggestion? If we said the following year, then we're not having to change it every year. If we put 16,
Or just table it. If it's not going into effect for another year,
then the personnel policy might be done, all revised.
You know, we've been hearing this personnel policy for 5 years. And we finally started on it.
and it's been a struggle, because I mean,
I know,
It's a pain in the neck.
yeah.
I know.
yes, it is.
I can say that one in public. Not what I really want to say.
Me neither.
I guess I would almost agree if we tabled it. It's gonna happen anyway, later. We just have to make sure that all your people know, everybody knows, so we don't get into this same mess next year. I think that's and I don't know what gas is gonna be next year, Paul, but we can check that out. But I think we just need to know, everybody needs to know what's gonna happen. I mean, so, we've still got a motion on the floor.
Correct.
you don't have a second, though.
No
Yeah,
second.
you second.
No, I didn't
No,
second.
he did not second it.
Nothing seconded on the amendment.
Oh, we're still on the amendment.
Yep.
Correct.
So if you don't have a second, what are you gonna do?
He just dies for no second.
That's right.
Okay. Dead.
Good, okay. So then we can go ahead and table this number 12?
And in doing so, you're tabling 13.
Yes. Pardon me?
You probably still could vote on the contribution rates, just change the effective date.
That's what I'm saying. So it could be a separate action.
So you're tabling 12?
Yes.
Let's
12.
go on to 13 then.
Okay. 12.
Did you want a motion to table 12, or are you gonna, how do you want?
Let's go ahead and make, I'd rather have it on a motion to make, to table that.
I would too.
Okay. I need a motion.
Okay, I move we table 12, the 6.1 health insurance revision to the Marshall County personnel policy.
I will second that.
All right, we got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Ravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, moving on to item number 13, non-union employee contribution rates for health insurance fiscal year. Discussion and possible action to set non-union employee contribution rates for 2015-16.
Now, this is the one we're gonna have to table, or to amend then. We're gonna have to amend it, the 7-1-15 to -16, is that correct? Am I following the?
That's
That's
just
just
what
a
they
recommendation.
recommended.
No, I did, we
For
don't
you
have to
loan
do that.
associates, this
Yeah.
is their recommendation.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
So, do we want to, do we need to have
Okay, so it does
Shall
say,
we then?
it does say, that says the union employee contribution rates for health insurance for FY, okay.
This is for non-union.
16.
who's,
I mean, what did I say?
The union is set by contract. I believe our initial intent was to soften the blow of increases in employee contribution and split it into a 2-year thing to allow people to budget better. The maximum amount of increase that can be taken in the employee contribution, as I understand it, from Bernie Loan Associates to remain on our grandfathered status for the single employee would be $24.90 on a monthly basis. The maximum increase to remain grandfathered for an employee with one dependent would be an increase of $4.24 per month. The maximum contribution increase to remain grandfathered for a family of 2 or more dependents would be $6.73 a month. Our intent was to soften the blow and spread it out over 2 years. After today's discussion, I think it would be appropriate giving a 1-year notice to, and I'm going to make a motion on this, that the table rate that is in item number 13 remain the same with the exception of the single, which we currently, we're going to vote on today at 1176, that because we're softening the blow and giving a 1-year notice that go to 2490, and that the other 2 items remain the same. Employee plus 1 dependent would go to 8924. An employee of 2 dependents or more would go to 141.74. Those monthly increases would be for a single employee, $24.90 per month. The increase for an employee with 1 dependent would be $4.24 per month, and the increase for 2 or more dependents would be $6.73 a month.
effective date?
Effective date, a year from now.
You want to set next year's rates today?
It's the maximum you're gonna be able to take and remain grandfathered. You're setting the employee contribution, not the rate,
I'm not sure you can go all the way up to 2490.
okay?
Because that eliminates our grandfather, doesn't it?
Well, once again, then you're looking at the comparison between March of 2010 to next year.
Yep.
And you're in the same boat. I don't think it would be,
Then that's fine, but I think a year from now, I don't think that this board's probably gonna take a 2-step approach. So I'd like it out on the table that everybody has said we're not getting any warning, any respect. I think we should address this issue that in a year from now, when we set these rates, it's probably not gonna be $11.76 a month increase. It's probably gonna be in the $24.90 neighborhood.
What if it's higher?
It may be higher.
So you're not actually setting the rates today
No,
for next year?
just putting it out there and
Just a
giving
discussion.
everybody
Just
full
discussion?
warning
Okay.
of what's coming down the road,
I thought you were making.
so that,
I
so
thought there
that
was
they're,
a mo-
okay.
amendment, so I'm
Drop
sorry.
the amendment,
Drop
but
that.
I think we should say here today, to alleviate a year from now, having everybody say, well, we had no notice of this. I believe we need to say this, that this is coming down
Or
the
it's
road,
coming
and this
down.
is probably what our intent is going to be.
So what
Is it
your-
fun?
What is
No.
your motion?
Not gonna make a motion.
Just
Just-
conversation.
This is just conversation.
But conversation to be noted.
Yes, so
In
a
our
year from
minutes.
now, we're not,
So does the benefit
this
committee?
is not gonna be a surprise.
No, it's your job to get the rates out there to the individuals.
Mhm.
It's either through our office or through yourself.
And it'll probably be the 1st of April before that happens.
But then
When we
With a
receive
little
the
bit of
rate,
luck.
yeah, we can't do it till we receive the rates, the
Yeah,
renewal.
we have to sit down here with our gentlemen and go through that.
This is at least giving everybody an idea.
This is a very far advanced warning of what's probably going to happen.
So we're down to 13.
Yep, moving on.
Well, I want to get these poor old guys with antique, Mid-Iowa Antique Power place. Well, I'm going to switch this over to 18 for if Northman falls asleep.
Do we need to do a roll call on just saying that we're gonna not do anything with that number 13? Just so we have something just saying,
We didn't
Are
make
we-
any
are we
motion.
We didn't make, there's
Tabling,
no,
are we-
we
okay.
tabled.
There was
Okay.
no
Table.
motion to
Just
be,
nothing.
it was
Table.
possible
Nothing.
action to be taken, and we took none.
okay,
Okay.
no discussion.
Okay. Item 18, lease between Marshall County and Mid-Iowa Antique Power Association. Discussion with possible action to lease approximately 51 acres in Section 9 Township, 83 Range, 19 Washington Township, Marshall County, Iowa, to the Mid-Iowa Antique Power Association. And basically, we went with a new contract or a new lease at the last meeting. But since the last meeting, we've made some decisions on looking with them on a building that's going to be built, and had some good conversations. So I don't know, Don, is there anything you want to explain on this? Because this lease would run through 2015 with the new building and so on that will be coming together, and that will run through 2024. Versus the other one was, I think it was like 18 or 19. That was so.
Okay, I'm Don By with the Board of Directors of Mid-Iowa Antique Power. We did receive your proposal, which is Exhibit A. We feel that everything that you have listed is well within order. The additional map that you're going to include with the lease part, that has been presented to John Van Orstveen, who does most of the mowing. Paul helps, I do also. I think they're both in agreement that that's fine, because that's what we're doing right now anyway.
Okay.
I think that, do you guys have anything else? I think that's all we have, and I think this is a very good amendment, and we're doing fine with it.
And again, we appreciate the mowing and stuff like that goes on out there that you guys take some pride in, and we appreciate it. If I'm gonna be your auctioneer, you better give me something good to auction. All right, I would entertain a motion on this.
I would move to approve the real estate lease between Marshall County, Iowa, and the Mid-Iowa Antique Power Association effective July 1, 2015 through June 30th, 2024.
I will second that.
Motion is second, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Patton.
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for
Thank you
sticking
sitting
around.
through it.
This has actually been one of the official longest meetings that we've ever had.
You mean
Come
you
back.
just haven't had enough
enough
fun
of it
so
yet?
far?
All right, we'll go on to item number 14, Resolution 2015-0034. This is the third and final reading of the proposed amendment to ZA 1501 and adoption to zoning ordinance number 3. Again, being third reading, this is to conform to the requirements of the county zoning ordinance with the Code of Iowa. This is updating wordage, verbiage, and putting everything so we're all supposed to understand it.
We're all on the same page.
All on the same page.
County and the state. Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt resolution number 2015-0034, third and final reading of proposed amendment number ZA-15-01, and adoption to the zoning ordinance number 3.
All right, we got a
I second it.
motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Patton.
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Item number 15, Resolution 2015-0035, third and final reading of the proposed amendment number SOA-15-01, and adoption to zoning ordinance number 10. Again, this is reason for the amendment request is to clarify which instruments are required to submit a fee for review. Again, third and final reading. We've looked at this the last 2 times, so I would entertain a motion.
I would move we adopt the extension to 28E agreement between Marshall County, Iowa and the city of Laurel effective July 1, 2015 through June 30th, 2016. The city of Laurel agrees to pay Marshall County, Iowa the sum.
Where are you at?
Whoa.
Oh, I'm the
Where are
wrong
you
one.
at? Yeah, you're on the wrong.
I want
15.
We need 15.
up
Bottom
here,
of 9.
19.
15.
Oh, those, yeah,
How can you
my
say
page are clear over there.
Well,
And I wasn't listening to
see,
you.
yeah,
I'm
that's right.
sorry.
You need to listen to me. Nobody ever listens to me. Bennett, don't put that down.
With that in mind, I would ask our other,
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we adopt resolution number 2015-0035, third and final reading of the proposed amendment number SOA-15-01, and adopt to the plating and subdivision ordinance number 10.
I would
Now it's your turn.
I would second that, and I promise to listen more carefully.
All right, we got a motion, a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Patton.
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Moving on to item number 16, Resolution 2015-0036, naming bank depository. And Jared's already flying up there.
This is just an updated list of our depositories, added GNB Bank, and did a little cleanup on a couple of our addresses in here that I noticed weren't necessarily perfect. So
And-
that's- I wanted to give that full list instead of just
Okay.
the amended item. to you
Okay,
guys. So
okay, good. And these are all the accounts, or all the banks that we deposit money in?
Correct.
I see, okay. All right.
Obviously, FDIC insures everything up to $250,000. There's several banks we have much more than that. Is that the individual bank that is guaranteed our deposit that we have there?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay.
I would entertain a motion on this resolution 2015-0036.
I would move to adopt the resolution, number 2015-0036, naming bank depositories.
I will second that.
And a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Patton.
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to now number 19. We'll
Yes.
switch over to that.
Need a scorecard today.
I
This is
apologize again.
This is a tough one. 19 is the Sheriff's Department Extension 28E Agreement between Marshall County, Iowa and the City of Gilman for law enforcement protection. Again, this would take effect July 1, 2015 through June 30, 2016, and the City of Gilman agrees to pay Marshall County the sum of $14,280.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we approve the extension of the 28 agreement between Marshall County, Iowa and the City of Gilman, effective July 1st, 2015 through June 30th, 2016. The City of Gilman agrees to pay Marshall County, Iowa the sum of $14,280.
We got a motion
I second it.
and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Gravenbauer.
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Item number 20, Sheriff's Department extension to 28E agreement between Marshall County and the City of Laurel for law enforcement. And the City of Laurel agrees to pay Marshall County the sum of $6,720, which will be in effective July 1, 2015 through June 30, 2016.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the extension to a 28E agreement between Marshall County, Iowa and the City of Laurel effective July 1, 2015 to June 30th, 2016. The City of Laurel agrees to pay Marshall County, Iowa the sum of $6,720.
I will second that.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Patton,
Yes.
Gravenbauer,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Item number 21, public forum. This is time we've set aside for Bennett to ask questions in order to make comments on topics of county business other than those listed on this agenda. No action will be taken on any of these topics brought up in the public forum.
Bennett, are you getting overtime today?
You're gonna bring more food next time, aren't you?
I see Chuck left.
Yeah, we lost him.
We lost
him
Chuck.
about a couple hours ago.
Okay.
Mr. Zobel, you were standing, or you just getting a kink out of your leg? Come on up,
Knock
big
yourself
guy.
out.
Come on up there, buddy. Hearing or seeing nobody step me to the mic, this is the end of our fiscal year. Next item is the adjournment. The next regular session is July 14, 2015 at 9 a.m. All business to be acted upon that session should be submitted to the county auditor and recorder's office or the Board of Supervisors office by Thursday, July 9, 2015 at 1 p.m. There will be no further business to come before the board. We are finally adjourned at 10:52. Are you going to ask me questions?